Let's start. Thanks, everyone. So today I'm happy to host with Procivis our first webinar about decentralized identity. And today we will talk about how decentralized identity and the regulations are redefining digital identity and access management. So our agenda for today is the following. So first, a quick welcome intro. Then I will present what decentralized identity is in a nutshell. Then I'll hand over to Robin from Procivis, who will explain the history and the journey around the eIDAS 2.0 and the Swiss eID, and what are the impacts that these regulations will have on your business. After that, we will see why self-sovereign identity or decentralized identity is a catalyst for business innovation. Then I will talk about the new opportunities that are brought by this new paradigm in identity access management. And we will finally present a use case demo with a recorded demo that we did. Before starting, I will just to see with you how familiar you are with the identity access management topic, and more specifically self-sovereign identity. So here we go. So please, everyone, you can use, yeah, you can vote. It seems we have experts in the crowd.
Looks a bit like an amplifier, you know, with the sound.
Okay, so it seems that most people here are very familiar with the topic. Some have heard of it, but not familiar. And well, no pressure for us. Then it will be an interesting question Q&A session, I guess. Here another question, just to see that what you just stated is true or no. Okay. And a last one regarding the regulation. So have you ever looked into the upcoming eID or the eIDAS 2.0? Okay, so yeah, thanks everyone. I think we have some interesting people in the crowd. Most of you seem to know what we are talking about. Hopefully, you will still learn from Procivis and from IC Consult. And yeah, I'll hand over to Robin so that he can quickly present himself, and then I'll do the same.
Great, of course. So I'm Robin Müller, and I'm heading the business development unit at Procivis. I really have a technical background, so I was an engineer and also business analyst. So really from the technical side and more on the business development side here working for Procivis. And I'm really looking forward to the webinar together with IC Consult and with you, Joachim. Thank you.
Thank you, Robin. So I'm Joachim Bacoyannis. I'm lead Romandie at IC Consult, Romandie being the French-speaking part of Switzerland. I've been working in the identity access management space for almost 13 years and interested into the decentralized identity topic for over 8 years, since the early beginnings when blockchain appeared and new possibilities were offered by technology, and this technology in particular, and in the space of identity. So leading also this topic for IC Consult now globally. So what is IC Consult? If you're here, you either know the company or maybe you saw a webinar online on LinkedIn and you joined. Just a small recap. We are an IAM expert company, so we are the world's leading consultancy in identity access management. We offer consultancy, integration services, and also managed services. We cover all the aspects of identity access management, so from access management to privilege management, identity access governance, and therefore we are we are always looking at the new topics in our space, and decentralized identity is an important one. We are present all over the world, and we are known for our excellence, and that's proven by different awards we received in the past by vendors, but also analysts for multiple projects. But the element that makes us really proud is the score of satisfaction from our customers, which is 91 out of 100, which is the max. Robin?
Yes. Great. So I will also introduce Procivis quickly with a bit less icons than on your side with IC Consult, but with some more numbers on the slide. So Procivis is a deep tech company with really a strong focus on digital identity solution, mainly based on the concepts of self-sovereign identity. We are located in Zurich and Vienna and are at the moment around 30 people, mainly working in the development. We were founded 8 years ago, almost 8 years ago, but this is nothing, compared with our mother company, Aurel Füssli, which is more than 500 years old and today's leading international solution provider for security solutions, which is for us, of course, as Procivis, a perfect fit. We are really happy about the partnership with Procivis and also the first joint project. They have shown that the value proposition of IC Consult and Procivis, they really complement each other perfectly. But I think you have some more thoughts about this, Joachim, on the next slide.
Yes, thanks, Robin. So you can wonder why we decided to partner. So first of all, we have the same focus, which is expertise and digital identity solutions. So as you saw, Procivis is a Swiss leader in that market, has been here since the beginning. So 8 years is really the early stage, early beginnings of decentralized identity. And we are also a company historically for 25 years now, more than 25 years, focusing only on decentralized identity, trying to find the best solutions for our customers. And we have this variety in the portfolio. In addition to that, decentralized identity is a really transforming topic on which we think our customers need to have a commitment to long-term stability. There are plenty of players with excellent technologies, but they are driven by the startup approach, and acquisitions can happen anytime, companies can disappear at any time, and therefore having Procivis being part of Aurel Fusli is a commitment to this long-term stability, and it's something we really value when we advise our customers to select solution A, B, or C. Also, Procivis is working globally and trying to, they have this approach of standards, using standards, working on standards, and this high level of quality has been recognized. So by a selection from the Department of Homeland Security in the US for interoperability between verifiable credentials and meeting international standards. And this is also in line with our approach to propose to our customers solutions which have a no-lock approach, meaning we don't sell you a solution A that you cannot change tomorrow towards a solution B. And of course, we are based in Switzerland. It's a beginning of a journey. We are geographically close, culturally close, but we also share the same vision that decentralized identity will be a transforming opportunity for our digital identity space. But why now? Why do we do this this exercise of doing a webinar? You probably have seen this hype cycle from Gartner multiple times, and you know that there's this wave. And now we are in this phase that decentralized identity, identity wallets, verifiable credentials, and identity verification are going more and more towards the right side. And if you look at the colors, these plateau will be reached in between 2 to 5 years. So it means that in 2 years from now, those technologies will be highly implemented, present almost everywhere. You as a citizen, you will have a wallet, you will own credentials as an employee, as a member of maybe a football club, sports club, gym, but also for online purchasing. And those technologies are also linked directly with these two regulations you can see here and we will talk about, which will also be implemented in the 2 coming years. So that's a lot of information, and maybe let's go back to what is decentralized identity so that the picture, the drawing gets clearer also for you. So what are SSI and VCs? So SSI or decentralized identity, so self-sovereign identity or decentralized identity, those two terms you can hear often, and they are used as synonyms most of the time. So they refer to concepts where individuals or entities have control over their own digital identity without relying on a central authority. It enables you, user, service, to manage your identity information securely and privately. The verifiable credential is a digital credential issued by an entity such as an organization, so company, public, private, government. These VCs are actually, let's say, objects which allow you to prove claims about yourself. So it can be some information, some qualification, like certificates you may have, university degrees, or a vaccination proof. Those can be memberships or any achievements. And you can share this information without really revealing unnecessary personal information and without having to hand over a copy of those credentials. So to make it simple, that's how the world works today. You as a user, you're on the left side, you have your mobile, you want to access a service which is on the right side. And in order to do so, you have to log in where this agent stands. In order to log in there, well, there needs to be some trust relationship between the service you want to access and your login mechanisms send you towards this central authority. And that's how trust works today. In the case of decentralized identity and the usage of credentials, this authority becomes an issuer. So this authority issues a credential that you store in your wallet that you will present to a verifier. And the verifier will actually verify in a registry, be it centralized or decentralized, where other issuers can also store the proofs. Where the verifier will check the presentation that you did of the credential. And this is a shift of paradigm where we used to have, let's say, a fully centralized approach versus a federated. So we agree that we trust each other and therefore I can come with my claims or my information and access your systems, towards something or where we don't need to know each other, we don't need to trust each other, but we can trust the technological layer that is supporting our different processes. So to summarize, during the evolution of identity access management, we went from a world where everything was centralized and governed in EAM systems like the ones you may know and you may use in your companies for employee and external employee management, to something which is federated, where, well, the trust is among a community and parties which know each other and build, let's say, this this trust layer in order to access to services of each other, to something which is decentralized, so where you have access, you manage your identity information and you can share it the way you want, and this information can be proved true or false without having a necessity to be federated. We'll hand over to Robin, who will now talk about the different regulations.
Yes, thank you, Joachim, for this introduction. On the next slide, I would like to talk about eID schemes and regulation, and also the limits of current eID schemes. So as we now understand the basic concepts of SSI, I would like to make a bit the connection between this technology and digital identities. Because I think digital identities, they were here before the wallets and VCs, before they popped up on the hype cycle. So SSI as a concept is, from my perspective, ideal for identity solutions, because it's, as you already have heard, it's a user control. You have your identity in your digital wallet. It's, of course, decentralized. We have a high usability. We have standardization. And, of course, privacy and security is given with the concept of self-sovereign identity. So, and that's, I think, exactly in these areas where current eID solutions, they show weaknesses. Especially when I'm looking at the usability of some eIDs, of some eID solutions, or even interoperability, which is most of the time not given. And I think in less words, or to summarize, self-sovereign identity is really influencing the evolution of trust models in digital identity. Which brings me to the next topic about the laws and regulation around digital identities. So these laws and regulations, they are really crucial for let's say a robust or secure and trustworthy digital identity ecosystem. They laws, they can also be the foundation, let's say, for innovative use cases and more efficient digital processes that can be realized by private sector and also public sector. So it's really more than just digital identities. It's really, I think, the opener for a digital world. So when we have a look at the different laws and regulations from the different countries, so let's say for Switzerland, here we have a greenfield approach, right? At the moment, we have no eID system here in Switzerland in place, but there is a new eID law coming soon with a decentralized approach, and there will be an eID based on SSI issued by the government. And this will be done, this eID will be done in 2026, including also an ecosystem where basically every company can participate. Then another market, that's the EU. So when we are looking at the EU, there we have a long history with eIDAS 1, and there are already several national eID schemes, they're called eID schemes in place. And these eID solutions, they are really facing the challenges I was mentioning on the slide before, like interoperability between the country who is not working, usability, and so on. And now we have the new regulation with eIDAS 2.0, which is addressing these challenges and includes also some new elements like digital wallets as defined in the SSI concept. But there are other markets, for example, the US. In the US, there is also no federal eID in place, but they have the so-called mobile driving license. In short, it's called MDL. And these MDLs, they are much aligned. It's not SSI, but they are much aligned with the concepts of SSI. So also with MDL, you have a issuer role, you have holder, and you have verifier. And we also see some movements in the direction of verifiable credentials in the US. Of course, we are not covering all the markets here. There are also more markets and more eID solutions worldwide. So if we are now focusing a bit more on the Switzerland and the EU, we see for both that the foundation is already done or has been established, right? So let's say for the EU, we have the so-called technical implementing acts which will be published soon for the EU. And these implementing acts, they will, let's say, serve as basis for then the technical implementation. But here the timeline could still shift. Let's see. Then for Switzerland, below in red, the situation is similar. But in addition, in Switzerland, we will have a sandbox, which will be available, I think, in Q1 2025, which then already can be used from companies to realize the first use cases, but in a, of course, non-production environment. So I think, therefore, it's really the ideal time to have a closer look at all of the possibilities from a business perspective, which I will also do from my perspective on the next slide.
Maybe, may I, Robin? We have this date, 21st of November 2027. Wallets must be accepted in the private sector. I would, can you maybe say something about this and what it means for the audience and the companies they work for?
You mean for the EU, right? You're talking about.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Basically, I think when you have a certain, if you are a big company, then you have to accept, basically you need to have components, technical solutions, and also the governance around that you really can, accept digital credentials from wallets, in a hybrid way, basically in, let's say, in online processes, in digital processes, but also if you have a physical counter, then also have the possibility there to scan and verify digital credentials, which are then presented by the citizen. So this needs to be covered in 2027 at latest, yes.
So that means that you're obligated by law, if you use today paper-based documents, or official documents, or credentials, to accept the digital ones by then.
Yes, that's
it's I think it's a big thing. It's for people to understand that it's a must. It's not you should. It's by then the law states in Europe that you must accept. Okay, sorry, but thanks
what
for
we
the
think
clarification.
No, that's a good question. I think it's the right moment really to have it on the radar, to have it on the digital roadmap of all the companies. So when we are looking at the use cases, I think it's really important, and I think that makes it also really interesting that SSI does not stop at a certain industry, and basically can be really a catalyst for innovation and efficiency. And on this slide here, I would like to briefly explain a selection of, let's say, use cases or topics. For example, I think everyone, remembers the last digital onboarding, or the last time you ordered a credit card in an online process, right? It's so media disruption, poor user experience, and also long processing times. And in the worst case, at the end, you receive the documents, whatever, via post, right? So that's the situation we are facing today. And there we see really a huge potential with verifiable credentials and SSI, like the upcoming eID in Switzerland, and also the so-called PID in the EU. Because you can build really an onboarding solution with fewer steps, fewer media disruption, and at the end, for the user, a great user experience. And another topic below, it's more general, right? It's operational efficiency. Basically, in any process where you have today to use so-called original documents, I'm thinking at a process in a bank, you can integrate the corresponding verifiable credential in this process. And that's also, the field or an area where I would like to show an example then later on the next slide, what we did with a customer of us in the field of operational efficiency. Of course, there are many other use cases. Please, can you stay on the last one? Sorry.
Sorry.
No worries. Right. There are, of course, many other use cases, especially in the field of security and also fraud prevention, where I think we have some experts also in the webinar today. there we also will have a closer look, especially during then our demo. But what really makes SSI unique, I would say, especially in the field of digital identity, is the last one, all the cross-border capabilities. Because thanks to the standards, for communication protocol, for example, or the definition of the digital or verifiable credentials, you can easily also realize cross-border use cases, for example, between EU countries, also between, let's say, EU and the US and Switzerland. This is basically, with the SSI concept, possible. So now let's jump to the use case we implemented for a client of us in Zug. It's not a cross-border use case, but I think it's still a great story with a customer, right? The city of Zug, where we have implemented the first, let's say, production use case with digital credentials in Switzerland. So what we did, Zug had a lot of effort to manage all the physical cards for the teachers. And I think that was really the perfect starting point for us to use digital credentials. So we have integrated the Procivis solution, including the holder wallet for the teacher and the verifier app, so basically a mobile verifier for all the paper shops, where the teachers get some discount if they purchase something. And with this solution, we were able to really streamline the whole process and make it really more efficient. But as mentioned, this was only the starting point, and we are looking at many other use cases coming based on this solution. But I think now it's the time to have a closer look at all the EIM use cases for the experts in this round. So back to you.
Thanks, Robin. So the new opportunities for EIM, actually, what I will talk about is nothing new. It's more challenges we currently have in the EIM space that our customers have, and self-sovereign identity brings an easy solution, an easy answer, and we will see during the demo as well that it's not just easy, but it's a nice user experience. It's security without being heavy. So, for example, today companies are struggling because they have to. There are targets to attacks because they store credentials, information about customers, and so on and so forth. They also have a compliance burden and a huge effort and cost, for example, to comply with GDPR. What self-sovereign identity brings as potential is you as a person, you own your credentials and you decide when and with whom you want to share them. And you will see during the demo that you can select what you want to share among the information that is in your hand. So you cannot show your passport and just gray some zone. Here you can show your identification data, but only the one you want and the one you think is needed. You have the privacy preserving authentication, which is a really important topic. We see more and more, and there is a law, I think, something happening on the European Commission level to make sure that when you access some sites, and there are initiatives in Italy, that you can prove that you're over 18 without sharing personal information. Without sharing your age, your age. So that's the presentation of a verifiable credential that you would allow this with the principle of the zero knowledge proof. So you protect your privacy. You don't need to prove everything, but you just prove that you're over 18 or that you are qualified to access something, or that you are qualified to perform some surgery as a doctor, or that you are qualified as an employee to access a certain zone in a building or in an IT environment. Passwordless authentication is what comes here for, I think, a lower cost. You don't need to manage tokens. You don't need to manage keys. You can imagine that you just provide a verifiable credential to your employees that proves that they are employees of your company with their ID information, and they can use this in a simple QR code scanning mode with their wallet in order to use passwordless authentication. And I think we will focus on that case in a future webinar. Not today. Today we will already present like a good bunch of transformation in terms of onboarding, but let's see how in the future you can use your credentials and wallet to have the full experience as an employee or external employee or citizen. But you also have a reduced dependency on centralized identity providers. So meaning what we saw earlier, this federation needs where you come and you log in as your Google or Microsoft account. In the future, you will come and log in as Joachim Bacoyannis, because the information you share is verified and there is no need of a third-party authority like a GAFAM in order to allow you to access to some services. And that's also a big shift. Of course, the interoperability is important. I mean, imagine you bring your own identity, you bring your own information about your past employment certificates when you go and want to apply for a job. That seems to be nothing, but how many times did you have to write down all your past experiences, scan your certificates, send them, and so on and so forth? Here, you can start tomorrow in a new company, and we can imagine that you log in again with your wallet and your personal identity that you already have. So no password, no username, no onboarding process as long as it used to be. And the last one is linked to the reduced dependency on centralized identity providers, and it's creating trust among everyone without having to rely on a central authority. So as a freelancer, yeah, you can, for example, present previous employment certificates, and those are signed and can be verified as issued by the company you worked for. So, okay, next. We will talk about the use case and demo, but first, let's put back what we saw about the struggles, and you will see how we answer to the current struggle. So mainly today, whatever the service, the quality of the website, of the formula, the form you're using to get onboarded, identity sharing is always repetitive, almost the same, whatever industry you're in. So you create an account on Amazon to buy stuff, or you create an account on an airline company website, you will share information, more or less the same. And there is no added value if you do it for an airline company or for your online retailer. It implies all the time it's costly, repetitive, inefficient. There is no added value for you as an end user or for you end users. It's difficult to maintain the accuracy of the data. imagine asking your customers to review their data every 6 months. That's a struggle. They won't do it. They will probably quit your platform. Your personal data is duplicated everywhere. So every time you register, they store this information. You don't have control about this. You need to go ask to be removed and deleted and hope that they respect the GDPR rules or the local regulations to remove your data. And that also puts the company at risk because they store data, which is a high valuable target for cyber groups. At the same time, yeah, complex to be compliant. There is no service personalization, and the user experience is pretty bad. So in the use case that we will present today is the following. So maybe you've experienced it as an external employee or as a manager or an employee of a company who needs to onboard an external. So usually we want to onboard someone. We need to invite this person, register the personal information. Sometimes you go through HR, sometimes you go through a paper form, sometimes you need 20 signatures and so on and so forth. I mean, it can be complex. But in our use case, we decided to work with two companies. So, I mean, Consult and Procivis being the externals that need to be onboarded in the company XYZ group that you will see on the video. And the manager so uses a form in which has been implemented in the solution Identity Now from SailPoint, where he goes and puts the email address of the external employee he wants to invite. An email is sent to this person. It creates at the same time an external proof request. So that's the Procivis platform waiting for the presentation of verifiable credential to validate it. But yeah, in the email, you have an embedded link to go on this service web page where you can scan the QR code. So you will see that. You present your verifiable credential and you decide what you share during the verification process. Once the verification process is completed, and you will see instantaneous, once the verification is done, then your information is shared with a centralized identity access governance platform, which is Identity Now. It creates an identity there for you. As a Procivis employee, you get a dynamic airbag role, which assigns you an account in Entra ID and provisions of your account. And that's it. The registration is successful. So I'm not going to go more into words. That's how the different components are built. So you have the wallet, you have the issuer, being IC Consult or Procivis in the case, you will see. So we create a verifiable credential for the employee saying that he works for company Procivis, IC Consult. You have the company which needs to verify who you are. So that's the company you are invited into. This company has its own IGA solution. And before getting onboarded inside the IGA solution, this verifier needs to check that the credential you're presenting is correct. So time for the video, and we will comment. I will comment live. So here we are on a Procivis platform, and we issue a credential for Robin, and this credential is a verified employee credential. So we created a type of credential that is known among the different companies. Okay. So we can use name, first name, we can add pictures, plenty of attributes, multi-value attributes. Yeah.
And yeah,
API.
again, I think I have something to add here. Normally, you're not doing this process with a UI. We are using here the UI because it's easier to explain. Normally, you are doing it via an API, putting all the relevant information. But here, it's just as a showcase, we are using the UI.
So, and basically here we say that the person works for Procivis, employee ID. I mean, the usual, let's say, identity information required for an employee. And this is the credential that Robin is going to store in his employee wallet. And now he has this verified employee, Robin Müller, information in his phone. He can check the data and accept it. And once he has accepted it, it's stored on the phone. And here we see the history, who created it, what is the schema used for this credential, and so on. So first part. Then we have the invitation. So now we go into the company IGA platform. As a manager, we want to onboard an external employee via a decentralized identity presentation. It's a simple form. We just write the email of Robin. This sends a link, an invitation email to Robin, and he will have to, you will see, click on the link. So by sending this invitation, we generate a proof request related to the identity, which is linked to this email address. And here is the proof request waiting for him. So he goes into his wallet. He decides to scan the QR code. And now you see you have shared data on top. You can select, pre-selection is done, and he decides to also share his phone number in the process. So sharing data was successful. The verification on the other side is done towards the registry, where towards the issuer, so the verifier checks there, and the registration is successful. Now we will see that when this happened, this web app called the API from Identity Now solution in order to make a simple provisioning request using the API. And we see this account. So this solution works in that way that we create accounts. Accounts are linked to what we call identity profiles, which create identities. And along with this identity, we assigned this external role IC Consult. And yeah, so there is one account which comes, the reason for the existence of this identity is the DID use case did identity. That's it for the demo. If you have questions, you can drop them in the chat, and we will be happy to answer them.
Cool. So at the moment there are no questions. So we are.
No. There is one.
There's one. Ah,
Yeah,
cool.
there is one which says how. So how can companies ensure compliance not only with specific geographical laws, as you just mentioned, but also with various identity standards, ISO 27001, or here in Germany, BSI Grundschutz, when implementing decentralized identities? So how can companies ensure compliance not only with specific geographical laws, okay, as you just mentioned, but also with various industry standards, ISO 27001 or Germany BSI? Okay, thanks for the question. First of all, the maybe I will emphasize why we spoke about these geographical laws first and regulations. We wanted to talk about them because these are the ones that will force us and force you as companies to use this wallet, accept these wallets, and have to implement the verification, issuance, and holder roles in your organization and day-to-day life. Complying with them means accepting the VCs, accepting the decentralized identities. Now, if we talk about ISO 27001 or BSI Grundschutz, which is it's security related, I guess, or equivalent to GDPR, maybe. But ISO 27001 states, for example, that you need to have identity access management in place. It says that you need to have control over the qualifications, that you should have a strong authentication in place, and so on. So you have to look at the wallet, the VCs, the decentralized identities more as an enabler in order to answer to these challenges. And it's actually an opportunity for maybe one of the first times for CISOs or security people to take a shift in the industry, which will bring higher security and at the same time reduce potentially cost, because you don't need to have multiple solutions to implement passwordless if you have already verifiable credentials generated for your employees, and you will probably have it because you will have to accept it from the outside world. So I think that's how it answers ISO 27001. And if we talk about personal data and personal data exchange, well, when I share my information, I don't need to, again, share all of it. I can select what I share. We can imagine also in the future sharing for a certain amount of time and withdrawing the fact that you allow to share information.
And you're also somehow, reducing the risk if you don't have to store all the personal data as a company. I'm thinking about zero knowledge proof, where you're basically sharing nothing with the verifier. Then it's also less risky for the verifier, because at the end you don't get the data, you don't have to store it. You only have, let's say, the verification, but not the data.
There's another question. So how do you assure that the holder of a credential can recover his credential on your new device if, for example, his phone is lost/stolen?
Probably I can take over that one, because I know it, especially for Switzerland. What's the process for the official upcoming eID? There, it's basically the same. If you lose the plastic card today, you have to get to the office and order a new one. For the upcoming Swiss eID, it's the same. If you get a new phone, you need to go through the process again, and the eID will be issued to you again. The same if you lose your phone, you need to go through this digital process again, and the new eID will be issued to you. That's the case for the official Swiss eID. Of course, probably for employee ID, it will be different. If you store the employee ID, let's take the example of the IC Consult ID, you can store it also software based, and then you also have a backup path. It's possible to create a backup and then restore it on the new device. But that's not the case, for example, for the Swiss eID as this digital credential. There you have to go through the process again.
So basically, there are different models. That's what you're saying. We also, I mean, some wallets exist as a service. So you can have a software-based wallet synchronized either in your company cloud, if those are company-related wallets, but also personal. Up to you. The market of the wallet is still really moving, changing. We see countries positioning themselves differently. Germany announced, for example, that they will develop a wallet for the citizens and provide it for free, but they also want to have a certification scheme for private companies that want to offer wallets to the citizens. So yeah, you will probably go through a phase where you will select what you prefer. Yeah. I see another question, and I think it will be the last one since we are almost over. Will we have private wallets in Switzerland like in EU? Thanks. Well, Robin.
Yeah, probably, but so for all the credentials, the verifiable credentials issued by the government, so let's say the Führerausweis, so the driving license, or the eID in Switzerland, these credentials, they can, in the beginning, they can only be stored in the government wallet. That's defined. But of course, there can be another market where you have private wallets for other types of credentials. Basically, I think, your employee ID, you don't have to store the employee ID in the government wallet. So there could be a market for other wallets in Switzerland, private wallets, Apple wallets, whatever. But for sure, in the beginning, for the eID, etc., there will be the government, the official, let's call it the official government wallet. But that's a bit the bet, about these wallets, how many wallets you will have on the phone. Here, I don't have a really clear answer. Yeah.
Well, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact us. You will see on the next slide our information, so feel free to reach out anytime. Also, if you have any comments, any topics you want to hear about or learn more about, or have a demo about what we implemented, what we showed today, so this long, painful external onboarding process that we can, of course, keep on developing. So you can bring your extra verifiable credential in the game. So saying not just I'm an employee from Procivis or IC Consult, but I can be an employee of IC Consult, and at the same time, I don't have any justice problems, or I don't owe any money to anyone. So therefore, I can be onboarded on critical or highly secure environments. So the amount of use cases is unlimited. And maybe to conclude, we saw that identity was became like the new perimeter when it's about security, and we talk about identity first cybersecurity. What we are living now is an identity first business transformation. So it's not just security, it's your identity data really become the center of all the interactions and the owner of all these interactions. Yeah, maybe Robin, if you have a last thing to say before we close this webinar.
So I couldn't see all the people joining. So hopefully, yeah, they enjoyed the session. And yeah, I'm looking forward to some more questions or demos or whatever is coming. It was a pleasure. Thank you, Joachim.
Thank you, everyone, and see you soon. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.